It's Friday, February 10th. Let's talk PlayStation. Alright, so we only have one news story to talk about this week, and the terrible thing is that when I uploaded Let's Talk PlayStation last week, this news story broke out pretty much a few hours after it was uploaded. So this news story is relatively old, but the good news about that is that it's because so much time has passed between when this news story broke out, we have a lot of details about, what's actually going on. And obviously what's going on is PS4 Firmware 4.5. So we knew that it was going to, the beta was going to be starting relatively soon. The beta is now live in action and people are testing it. And now we know all the features included inside of this firmware. So we'll go over every single feature and talk about them at length. And the one feature that we finally are getting is external hard drive support. You can use an external hard drive for the PlayStation 4, and you can install games and save all your content on that. That's all well and good. It goes up to 8 terabytes. You can only use one hard drive at a time. Keep in mind it must be USB 3.0, which a lot of people sometimes don't know and sometimes overlook when they get hard drives for the PS4s. It's going to be USB 3.0, so keep that in mind. But external hard drives are a very welcomed feature. Next feature is custom wallpapers, something that I think we probably should have gotten a very, very long time ago, but hey, whatever, it's here now. Got to figure the PlayStation Store with all of its, premium themes that are being sold to you, but you can use custom wallpapers now. So you can use any sort of screenshot that you have saved on your PS4, and you can use that as the background. So the last major firmware 4.0, we got a major refresh of the quick menu. Well, the quick menu is getting refreshed even more, so it's taking up less screen real estate and gives you a few more options and easily accessible things that you can get to and click out of. While I appreciate that the quick menu is taking even less screen real estate, I think it'd be kind of cool if they made the quick menu a little bit transparent, so in the background you can still see the full game, but maybe just blur out the back of it, you know what I'm saying? Either way, that is also coming. The next one I actually don't like. They've simplified the notifications list. So when you go to notifications, you'll see that it's broken down to a number of sections, and then you can look at, each specific notification depending on, what sort of genre it falls under. But now the update just simplifies the entire list and puts everything in one giant list. And I don't like this because they pretty much just took away the sort of easily accessible options of checking to see, again, different genre-specific locations of your notifications. And now it's just one big list, which I find kind of cluttered. But maybe you guys enjoy that. I think it's kind of a step backwards. If you have PlayStation VR, you'll be pleased to know that you can now watch 3D Blu-rays on PlayStation VR. So that is actually very cool. That's something I never even realized could be a thing. So when I read this and I found out about this, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. So it's exactly what you think it is. If you don't have PlayStation VR, you know that when you are using PlayStation VR and you're using something that isn't completely in virtual reality, what it does is it's theater mode, and it just basically simulates a giant screen in front of you. So that's all well and good, but what they're saying is now you can use a 3D Blu-ray movie, and the actual 3D stereoscopic effects can be applied to that situation while you're using the headset. So did not see that coming whatsoever. That's actually very cool. Early reports and impressions of this feature, a lot of people are saying that it actually looks very good. Some people are saying that it's actually better than just watching it on the couch and using it that way with a stereoscopic 3D television. I think it goes without saying that the picture is certainly not as clear, but people are saying that it's more clear than they thought it would be. Now this feature, I don't know why this wasn't here from the get-go. I actually think this is a really good welcome to change, and I think this will actually be something that a lot of people start to appreciate once it's actually here. But so the activity feed on PlayStation 4, the sort of section where it just puts all sorts of crap on there. So-and-so earned a trophy, so-and-so started a live stream or something like that. I don't know about you guys. I know I don't use this damn thing. I'd have to imagine most people don't use this. So with PS4 Firmware 4.50, now you can, it's pretty much like a social media timeline. Now you can just post to it freely and openly. You can post text on there. You can post your own pictures, GIFs, you can tag friends on it. Like I said, it pretty much turns into a social media feed, which I think should have been there from day one. I don't know why you have this sort of, when you look at it currently, it just looks like a big fucking billboard for PlayStation Network, because that's all it is just throwing up, so-and-so game is available now, there's an advertisement here, people earning trophies. Like, who gives a shit about all that? Like I said, I don't think anybody actually used it. Turn it into a social media timeline so you can interact with your friends that way. Because the only other way that you've been able to do this was from the previous firmware that allowed us to create communities, and that's very, a sort of very specific thing that you got to go out of your way to go look at and see. So it's nice to have the actual front and center section actually be useful. And finally, the one feature that's getting a lot of discussion and talk, rightfully so, is if you own a PlayStation 4, you now get Boost Mode. You probably already know about this. This news story is relatively old. But, so if you did not know or you didn't catch this, PS4 Pro Boost Mode now is essentially exactly what it says it is. It's hidden away in the settings menu. You turn this on. This is for older games. So if a game does not have a PS4 Pro specific patch, if the game was not designed and optimized to use the extra horsepower of PS4 Pro, now you can just turn on Boost Mode, and if you're playing an older game, PS4 Pro can use extra, processing power and everything to improve the game's performance. Now, clearly, there's some caveats to this. The game is not getting improved cosmetically in any way, shape, or form, whereas if a developer was working specifically on a pro version of the game, they can do things like that. It's it's really up to the developer in terms of how they want to use that extra horsepower. They can either increase graphical fidelity, or they can do extra frame rate, extra resolution. We know all that jazz. But when it's if you're turning on Boost Mode, you're only going to be able to improve things that can be improved in that manner, so non-cosmetically. So you can get possibly increased frame rate, faster loading times, texture pop-in can be reduced significantly. And the great news is that we've already, throughout this past week, we've already seen numerous tests from Digital Foundry and everybody that has gotten their hands on this, and the results are very good, actually. So if you are using PS4 Pro's Boost Mode on older titles, pretty much all across the board, you're going to be seeing some pretty significant improvement gains. Frame rate seems to be the most notable one. Digital Foundry has already done a number of tests with multiple games, and all across the board, every single game they do, you do see frame rate improvements. Sometimes it's a little insignificant, like say 5 to 10 frames per second. Other times, the game goes up to a solid 60 and holds it. It's worth noting that if the game has a capped frame rate, so if the frame rate is locked at 30 or if it's locked at 60, you pretty much can't go past it. So if it's a game that's capped at 30, you're not going to go past 30. But what you will get is a stable 30, where sometimes the game will be capped at 30 and it will still dip, like in the low 20s or something. But now PS4 Pro's Boost Mode will hold that 30 frames per second. There's also proof out there that loading times are decreased, not by much, but it's certainly there, and texture pop-in. So certain things like draw distances or approaching a wall or something, or it's just the textures load much faster, or you can see further out, but everything is improved greatly, which is awesome. And it begs the question as to why this wasn't there day one with PS4 Pro. Certainly, I think the value proposition for PS4 Pro has shot up tremendously. I don't know why they wouldn't have it. I would assume they didn't have it ready for day one with PS4 Pro. Otherwise, why would they not talk about this at the reveal event? Why would they not talk about this when the system launched? Why would they not tell press about this ahead of time or something? Why would they not get the word out there? I would have to assume they were working on this and they weren't relatively sure if they were going to put this into, like, that they've been working on it, but I think it might have been sort of an internal thing where they weren't sure if they were even going to release this, because the one thing that Sony is telling people, even though it is in beta, they're probably even going to tell people this once the firmware actually releases, but if you experience any sort of weirdness with Boost Mode, to turn it off immediately, because Boost Mode is something that is a hardware-wide feature. This is not something that developers have access to using. This is just something retroactively the system's doing to improve older titles. So if something does go wrong, Sony recommends you turn it off right away. Now, Sony's very careful about this stuff. Most console manufacturers are very careful about this stuff. If it's something that retroactively affects the entire software library, that's why it's a little iffy for them. So I would have to guess that's why they didn't do Boost Mode right away, or didn't want to talk about Boost Mode right away. I think it's actually good that we're getting it at all, because I think that was kind of like, I would venture that it was probably on the cusp of not being included at all and never being something that consumers would see. But luckily we are getting it. Those are some of the news stories I want to talk about with you guys this week. So if you didn't see it already, probably saw it in the timeline. The weird video I was talking about last week was this, Let's Play Whyville. It was a weird little chat website that I used to use when I was a kid, and I hop back on there and just fool around with it. A lot of fun recording that. Takes me back some good memories. Obviously, it's a fucking weird video, and I understand a lot of you didn't give a shit about it, and that's fine. However, what you probably might give a shit about is the next Let's Play. As always, the famous Twitter poll is returning. Follow me at Mystic Ryan to take part in this poll. The options this time were, and I kept it, simple, some games that I'm sure people will enjoy. Some games that we haven't done in a while. I haven't checked some of the dates to see when's the last time we did some of these. So, 2015 we did Uncharted 1. How about Uncharted 2 is a possible Let's Play? That is going to be in the poll. And then Infamous 2. We actually did Infamous a very long time ago, so Infamous 2 would actually be great because I have only played this game twice back when it released, and good lord, I forget what year this game came out. 2011? I'm guessing 2011, but I could be entirely wrong. Or 2010? Man, I cannot remember when this game launched. And then I'm going to throw it into every poll until it gets picked because I really want to just have a good excuse to go through this again, even though it has no shot in hell of winning against Infamous 2 and Uncharted 2 is Katamari Damacy. Especially because this is a relatively short game. This game could be finished in probably, I don't know, 5-6 parts maybe. Would not take that long to get Katamari out of the way. If anything, I might just do it for the hell of it. But I will stick to the Twitter poll. Whatever wins will be the next Let's Play, and it will start hopefully this Monday. If it does not, it will definitely be the week after. However, I got other videos that will be released intermittently as just sort of a fun little, stuff. I'm experimenting now. Some changes are going to be happening, much like when you are, going into puberty. You start to realize, I don't really know what's happening, but you start to like it a little bit, and that's good because I want you to like it. That concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Rabbit. Thank you all so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys next Friday.